Hello, listeners. Welcome to Hack Your English. My name is Paola Fajardo, and today I have prepared a lesson that is for beginners or low intermediate students. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so let's start. Tell me, what place is this in the picture? Is it a bookstore? Hmm, no, it isn't. Is it a library? Yes, it is a library. So, in today's session, we are going to learn from a conversation that takes place at the library. I ask you a few questions. Are there any libraries near your house? Is it yes, there is one, there are two, or no, there aren't any? Not that I know, at least. And if there are or there is a library near your house, how often do you visit the library? I never visit the library, or I sometimes visit the library. And okay, before we go on, please hit the like button and make sure you subscribe for more classes like this. And before we go on, please, you pause this video if necessary, but go and grab a pencil, a pen, a notebook, whatever you have at hand. Okay, but it's important that you write, you take notes in order to remember easily. Great. So, in today's lesson, we will read a dialogue that takes place at the library, and it's a conversation between a student and the counter clerk. Yes, we have a word here, the counter clerk. This is the person that works at the library, and it's like the receptionist at the library. Yes, a similar uh, job position. Now, imagine the last time you went to a library, whether it was a school, at university, doesn't matter, and imagine what words, phrases, or sentences uh, can you think of if you have a conversation between a student and a counter clerk. Like there are many options, right? Great. So let's brainstorm together and words that naturally go with library. How many words can you think of? I give you a few seconds to think about them. You can write them on your notebook. Okay, I gave you enough time. If not, just pause the video and keep thinking. I'm going to reveal some answers. So I have public library, school library, digital library, library card, library staff, library catalog, library hours, and library services, library collection, and library fines. In my experience, I would say some of them are similar in Spanish, so probably you know the meaning. But library hours, library fines, and library staff could be a little bit tricky for some. So uh, I would assume that you don't know. So, library staff, we're talking about the people who work at the library. When I talk about the library hours, it's, for example, the library next to my house opens at 9 a.m. and closes at 5 p.m. Okay, that would be the library hours. And library fines, this is what you get. It's like a penalty that you have to pay when you don't. Mm, when you don't compel to an agreement, yeah, when you uh, you don't do as expected, as okay, as is supposed to happen. Great. So, can you think of actions related to library? Example, what can you do at the library? Okay. Borrow a book from the library. You can borrow a book from the library. What else can you do? Think. I give you a few seconds. Okay. Probably I have a few of the ones you thought, but if not, please write it down in the comment section. Return a book to the library, study in the library, work in the library, research in the library, find a book in the library. Do you have any other in mind? Read a book? That would be kind of obvious. Great. Now, so this will be a fun lesson. And that was just activating your background knowledge, okay? Like warming up. So, first, you will listen and read along with me that conversation. We will study some vocabulary, we will practice pronunciation, and we will analyze expressions of necessity and obligation, and we will practice a little bit of speaking. Okay? Good. So, here is the conversation, and I'm gonna try to act, okay, to play a role as a student. You listen, okay? And you can read along with me. Don't worry about pronunciation, just worry about understanding this conversation. I am the student. I want to return these four books.
But two of these were due on Monday. You're late by 3 days. I'm afraid you'll have to pay the fine.
Oh, yes, I know that, but I was sick and I have not been able to come to college these 4 days. You condone the delay under special circumstances, don't you? And my sickness is a special circumstance, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But you should talk to the librarian. My duty is to charge the fine if it is due according to the rules.
Mm, very well. I'll see the librarian. Meanwhile, please issue me with these two books. And wait a minute, I want another book too. Let me go to the racks and find out that one also.
Okay, I'll wait and lend you all the three together.
Here's the book I wanted. Now, please issue them.
Would you sign here, please? And here also?
Oh, I want to point out something. In this book, one page is missing. It's page 231. You can have a look.
My, somebody has torn it away. How callous. I must stamp page 230 to indicate that page 231 has been torn out.
Is this necessary? Yes, very necessary. Otherwise, this may be blame on you or the next borrower after you. Thanks very much. Oh, that was one listening missing here. I'm sorry about that. Okay, but I'm sure that it didn't interrupt the comprehension of this conversation. Okay, so how do you like it? Good. So, what we need to do now is I'm gonna ask you a few questions just to check out the vocabulary. So when you say I want to return these four books, in terms of pronunciation, remember that we have I want to, and in informal spoken English, you can say I wanna return. I wanna return these four books. So it means that you think of a synonym like I want to give these four books back. I want to give these four books back, right? Now it says the clerk, but two of these were due on Monday. Two of these. Two of the four books were due on Monday. When you say due, it means that mm, the time you were supposed to give those book backs is over, is past, right? So were due is an adjective. And an adjective like this, you could say were expected on Monday. Can you think of another example? Like the bills. Yeah, when you have to pay the electricity bill, and today, for example, is, let's suppose, is August 28th, and it says you have until today to pay the bill. It will be due by tomorrow. Yeah. If you have another example in mind that is uh, mm, relevant to your own experience, just write it down. You're late by 3 days. You're late by 3 days. You're late by 2 days. Okay. Um, I think this preposition is a little bit tricky when we're talking about time. Yeah. But think about other examples so you can use it. Always connect the information to your real experience. I'm afraid you'll have to pay the fine. So when you say, I'm afraid you'll have to pay the fine, this is just a polite way, okay, to introduce something that might be maybe uncomfortable for the other person, for the listener. So, oh, I'm afraid you'll have to pay the fine. This is just being polite, okay? I'm afraid. It's eh, it's not that I am scared, like, oh, a monster, a ghost. No, I'm afraid. It's just like, I'm sorry to tell you this, but these are the rules. Okay. Oh, yes, I know that, but I was sick and I have not been able to come to college these 4 days. When you say have not been able to come, is like the person in the past and for an extent of time during that past, right? Couldn't, okay, because this is a possibility, wasn't able to come to college, okay, haven't been able to come to college these 4 days. And you condone, you can imagine what condone is from the context, right? Condone, it could be like pardon. Yeah, you condone the delay under special circumstances. Circumstances like being sick, right? It's not that I didn't want to deliver or give the books back. It's that I couldn't because I was sick and I needed to feel better. So, conditions, circumstances. And when you say, don't you, are you familiar with this tag question? It says, you condone the delay under special circumstances. When you say this, it's like, probably I know this information, but I don't want to be imperative. So I just ask for confirmation. So you can see that you condone the delay is an affirmative sentence and the question is negative. In Spanish, sometimes people use like verdad, like tú tienes un auto, ¿verdad? Como I wasn't sure about that. So don't you? And my sickness is a special circumstance, isn't it? Yeah, you're just expecting for confirmation. Oh, yes, it is, but you should talk to the librarian. We have a word here. You should talk to the librarian. So we say should because we are giving a suggestion. Yeah, this is like the procedure you should do when these circumstances happen. So it's a good idea to do this. My duty is just to charge the fine. My duty is my responsibility, my job, my task, right? Is just to charge the fine. When you charge the fine, is that you take the money, yeah, and you eh, register that information. If it's due according to the rules, yeah. Oh, very well. I'll see the librarian. Meanwhile, this is happening at the same time. Okay. I'll see the librarian at the same time. You can do another activity. Yeah. While I do this, you can do the other thing. Issue me. And I like this one because issue is not a word that um, as Spanish speakers we can think of. Uh, you could say issue me when, for example, you go to the bank and you open a bank account and you get a card. So you say, oh, the bank issued you a bank card, a credit card, a debit card. Yeah. If, for example, you enroll a course and it's a face-to-face course and you need to go to the facility, you need like an identity card, right? So the university or this institution, they issue you with a card. Perfect. I want another book too. Let me go to the racks. Okay, easy. You can get it from the contest. Racks is would be the shelves, right? Where they hold all the books. I have my rack on my right. Okay, I wait and lend you. Okay, I like this. Lend you all the three together. Lend and borrow. Think about that. So borrow, it's when I ask the library for some books and I take those books home, right, for a few days and then give them back. So I borrow because I need it. And the library lend those books to me. Here's the book I want and now please issue them. Great. Would you sign here, please? Would you? Would you sign here, please? This is a polite way, okay, to ask for the signature. Oh, I want to point out something. When you say point out, can you think about another synonym? Like indicate, like highlight, right? In this book, one page is missing. I like this. One page is missing. It's not there. I can see it. It's gone. Yeah. And you can have a look. So you please confirm what I'm seeing. So my somebody has torn it away. Has torn. Then we have present perfect. Torn is when you just do this with the paper, right? Turn it away, and it's away because it's gone. How callous. That would be an expression to indicate that a person who does something like this doesn't have a heart, heartless. I must stamp, and then we have I must. I must stamp. So it's my obligation, it's my job. I am compelled to do something like this. Okay? To stamp is to leave evidence, right? That the page is gone, right? Is this necessary? Yes, very necessary. Otherwise, would be like if we don't do this, then there is a possibility that people would say that you are responsible for that action, that you are guilty. So you may be blame on you. Okay, this may be blame on you. Or the next borrower. So we have borrower. That's the person who borrows books. Thanks very much. That's all right. If you have any other question, or if you have a question, please do not hesitate to type them down in the comment section. Okay, so we already looked at the phrases. Now let's see if you can remember, okay, the missing words. Do you remember? I want to, remember we say give back. I want to return these 4 books. Okay. You're late. the preposition, remember about time, by 3 days. I'm, it's the expression when it's a polite wait. Yeah, it doesn't mean that you are scared. Remember, I'm afraid you'll have to pay the penalty. Remember, the fine. You can talk about the parking fine. Remember, a fine is a penalty that you pay for not following the rules. Okay. I was sick, and it's a negative. It's a present perfect. I have not, or I haven't, been able to come to college these 4 days. So you, remember, is you pardon, you condone. You condone the delay under special circumstances, don't you? And my sickness is a special circumstance. So, isn't it? Yes, it is, but you should talk to the librarian. My responsibility, my task, my duty is just to charge the fine if it is expected, you know, um, do, yeah, you can say do or do, it's okay. Do according to the rules. Very well, I see the librarian. This is when it happened at the same time, remember? It's a transition word. Meanwhile, please, the bank can print something. So that would be issue, provide. Yeah, issue me, provide. I want another book too. Let me go to there. It's similar to the shelves, to the racks. Um, Later, it says the book I wanted. So here's, okay, we say here's the book I wanted. Now please issue them. So how are you doing so far? Good? Would you sign? Would you sign here, please? Oh, I wanna indicate, highlight. I want to point out. I wanna point out something. This book, one page is gone. I cannot see it, so it's missing. Very good. I must, remember, I must stamp. Great. And that page has been torn out. Okay, so you can see I didn't highlight that away. You say turn away, turn out. Okay, so you could say the same for both. Okay, has turned it away because it's like you are saying that people, it's not here in this place. Okay, it's gone. But turn out is just removed. Yeah, very necessary. And the last one, oh, well, this next one, this is another transition word. Yeah, very necessary. Because if we don't do this, this may be, so otherwise, this may be, you're guilty. Blame on you. Okay, blame on you. Or the next, borrower. Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing because I want to ask you a few comprehension questions. Question number 1. Who are the people in the conversation? Who are the people in the conversation? Probably you have a similar answer. There are two people in the conversation, the student and the counter clerk. Or you can say the clerk and the student are in the conversation. Question number 2. The student has to pay a fine. Why? The student has to pay a fine. Why? Probably you would say, you can write your answer, you can pause the video, try your best before you listen to my answer. He hasn't gone or he hasn't been able to go to college. He hasn't been able to go to college. Why? Because he has been sick. He hasn't been able to go to college because he was sick. How many books does the student borrow? How many books does the student borrow? He borrows 3 books. He borrows 3 books. This is a more personal question. Do you think the counter clerk is being difficult or is he only following the rules? Do you like him? Do you think the counter clerk is being difficult or is he only following the rules? Do you like him? In my opinion, the counter clerk is just doing his job. He's not being. Okay, so let's practice a little bit our pronunciation. So you act it out. I'm the student and you are the clerk. I want to return these 4 books. Oh, yes, I know that, but I was sick and I have not been able to come to college these 4 days. You condone the delay under special circumstances, don't you? And my sickness is a special circumstance, isn't it? Very well, I'll see the librarian. Meanwhile, please issue me with these 2 books. And oh, wait a minute, I want another book too. Let me go to the racks and find out that one also. Here's the book I wanted. Now, please issue them. Oh, I want to point out something. In this book, one page is missing. It's page 231. You can have a look. Is this necessary? Thanks very much. Okay, so how did it go? I mean, don't worry. I know that you might be confused or mispronounce some words, but I'm sure you try your best. Good. I just want to highlight a little bit of the grammar, okay? And in this dialogue, we had some sentences expressing necessity and obligation. For example, let's take the contest. The student returned the books to the library 3 days late, and the counter clerk said, "You'll have to pay the fine. You should talk to the librarian, and I must stamp page 230." Do you know the difference of all of them? When you say have to, it's an obligation. Yes. Okay. When you say you should, it's a suggestion. And when you say must, it's an obligation by law. Yeah, it's stronger than have to. Have to could be more related to your own values, to your ethic, but must, it's an obligation, it's your duty, your responsibility. Okay? So let's take a look at some other sentences. And here I have other ways to express necessity and obligation. For example, for necessity, we have need to. Yeah, um, I need to study English. Yeah. Ought to is obligation. Yeah. And have got to is another way to talk about obligation. And it's just exactly the same as saying I have to. Yeah. I have to. But if got to is like something came up and now this is my obligation. Let's take a look at some examples. Yeah. A. You've got to be careful while driving along a busy road. This is a more informal context. Okay. You could also say, uh, you must be careful while driving along a busy road. uh, it changes a little bit the context because, for example, if I have a mom who is lending her car for the first time to her 18-year-old son, and you say, hey, I will lend you the car, but you must be careful while driving along the busy road. It's like an obligation, it's your duty. And if I just want to give an advice to a friend who is driving in a busy road, I say, hey, I think you should be more careful while driving along a busy road because maybe you saw her like, you know, doing some maneuvers that were kind of dangerous and you were scary. Uh, you were scared, sorry. B. I have to finish the work by 11. So I have to. You could say I must, yeah, but I have to is because maybe I have something to do after 11. Yeah, so I have to finish by 11. If you say I must, it means that there will be a consequence, okay, after 11. But I have to finish the work by 11, otherwise I would miss the bus. Yeah. If you say I should finish the work by 11, it's just a suggestion, okay? It's like the best idea. That's it. We must leave immediately. We must leave immediately. It's getting late and there will be a consequence, okay? A consequence that we don't want to face. We must get up early tomorrow if we want to be on time. We needn't pay. So if we say we needn't, do you think it's affirmative or negative? It's negative, yes. We needn't pay, and it's informal. We can say we don't need to pay, we needn't pay. Okay, we don't have to pay. The book is given free to all students. Yeah, you can say we don't have to pay. The book is given free to all the students. Okay, look at this. You must type this letter immediately. So these are my orders. You must, this obligation. You ought to look after your old parents. It's your duty. There is a moral, an ethic dilemma, okay, involved. You should take less sugar. It's a good idea. That's the proper thing for you to do. Um, well, you have some homework, of course. Yeah. You can practice the conversation as many times as you wish, of course. And I will encourage you to do this job. Okay. So you imagine that you are visiting a library to return some books, but two of them are overdue. You had a valid reason for not returning the books on time, and you want to explain this to the librarian or the library staff member. In your conversation, you ensure that you start by stating your intention to return the books. You say, hi, good morning, my name is Paola. I want to return these books. The library staff will inform you that some of your books are overdue and that a fine is required. Politely explain your reason for being late. Could be illness, travel, or an emergency, and ask if there is a possibility of waiving the fine under special circumstances. So waiving, it would be avoiding, yeah? The staff member may provide guidance on what you do next, speak with a librarian, or suggest a solution. And finally, request to borrow more books or inquire about other services the library offers. If you write or type this dialogue and you want me to check it out for you to evaluate it, you can send it to my email, that is contacto and hackyourenglish.com. Okay, I will be very happy to correct that assignment for you. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. See you in another lesson.